Okay, I'm going to explain how I teach grammar. I don't use books, so normally what I did for last 5 years, not last year, but the first 5 years of my job, we had a book, and the book says, a textbook, and the book says present simple, and I used to read this, understand it, and then I used to like summarize it in my mind, and then I used to come to my board and draw beautiful pictures and diagrams and boxes and flow charts and spider diagrams to explain this to my students. And I used to talk for about 20 minutes, and my students were just sleeping the whole time for 5 years, and nobody learned anything. It was a waste of time, possibly almost a complete waste of time. And nobody learned anything. Basically, as soon as anybody's speaking for more than about 2 minutes, you're just thinking about what's up, or you're thinking about what to do the weekend. You're ignoring everything. They did too. You don't have to explain anything to the students. Don't explain anything. As soon as you start talking, if you start talking for like I'm doing in this video for a long time, you're not going to listen. It's a problem. So don't explain grammar to the students. That's what I learned. Don't explain it to the students. What we're going to do is, instead of using a book, we don't have a book, so we have it's much more free on how we organize the time, or how the time works out in the classes. So what I do is we talk about, there's not much grammar to learn in the whole of the course, really. I have it here on my wall, and this is what mastery is. Mastery is working with something so much that you understand everything, you understand the limits of everything. And this is what you're going to do with your students. And if you want to learn another language like Spanish or Italian or German, this is what I do as well to learn other languages. There's not much to learn, basically, when you look at it when you look at it objectively. I use, you see in my class some things like this, which I hope I can get a big picture of. This is a map of tenses, and there's not many tenses, there's only 12, and really these 6 are the principal ones, and these 6 are just a copy of those. The little ones we never use, or we use very little. And so we're using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenses really in the whole of our language. In the whole of our language, the whole of Spanish as well, you basically never use the other tenses. They're not used because they're not necessary. You only use it when you want to say something very special. So I make giant wall displays, and the idea is to take the explanations and blow them up until you can get inside them, and then you can see everything, and you can see the limits. I use this to explain to my students that the limits of the language, you can see that the language stops here. There's no more. It's not infinite. It doesn't go on forever. And this is very useful because when you start learning a language, you think that the language is very big. It's so many things to learn, but it's not. It's not very big. There's not very many things to learn. And I use this to show the limits of the language, and to show where the students are. And where the students are is they learn. First year is present simple and present continuous. This is what you do and what you're doing. And past simple is second year, so what you did and what were you doing and what you're going to do. And that's it. That's basically, you've learned the whole language now. If you just use present simple, you win. You've got everything. You could use present simple to modify. You modify present simple and you arrive at any other time. I'm sorry, I should be talking about mastery. So what we do is we spend a long time talking about each of the pieces of grammar they must learn until the students understand it, really understand it, and then can also explain it, and they understand everything about it. There's no more. And I give them as much time as they need. And that's the first thing I do in a course. The first thing I do in a year is we start talking about grammar, and we start talking about structure, and then we spend a good couple of classes. Normally, to explain all the grammar takes about 1 class. It's not very much. But we keep coming back to it to remember, to refresh their minds and remember. I teach them in Spanish. I explain this in Spanish because grammar and English are 2 separate things. The grammar in Spanish is the same as the grammar in English, almost. Okay, there's a couple of differences, but basically all the grammar is the same in the 2 languages. So if you understand the grammar in one language, you understand the grammar in the other one, and you do. Everybody understands the grammar in your first language because you speak it and you have spoken it for all your life, for all your life. So I use things like this, and we talk about it, and the students make it. This is how to explain past simple and present perfect in a nice interactive way. Notice that it's all irregular verbs, and this is my regular over here, which is not very important. That's like second year or and third year, and then here is first year, which is present simple. Basically, that's present simple. That's it, and there's nothing more. And that's present continuous, and there's nothing else. That's all the language. There's nothing else. This you should have in the institutes to use to explain grammar if you want, or the Argentinian teacher will explain the grammar. And then we have all the grammar for the whole course. I put it into like year 1, year 2, year 3, and I wrote it in Spanish and English mixed, which is a bit strange. And because I want everybody, you, the teachers, and the students to understand how much there is to learn, and to show you there's not a lot to learn. The only thing you have to learn in a language is some grammar and lots of vocabulary. And with vocabulary, we're learning using spaced repetition, playing games all the time, and drawing pictures, and writing a little bit. And they learn it very quickly. Okay, so the grammar then is year 1 is present simple, like I eat pizza, and present continuous, like I am eating pizza. Past simple is year 2, like I ate pizza and I was eating pizza, past continuous. Year 3 is past perfect, which is something in the past that affects the present, like I have just eaten pizza and I'm still full. I have eaten means I ate and I'm still full. And year 4 is passive, like the table is made out of wood. And first conditional is if I eat chocolate, I will vomit as an action and a consequence. And year 5 is past perfect. It's like when I arrived at the party, I had been traveling for an hour. When I arrived at the party, my friends had been there for an hour before me. Second conditional is with would. So if I won the lottery, I would be rich now. Passive past is the table was made of wood, is not anymore. Or the redemption song was sung by Bob Marley. And reported speech is what somebody said to you, and you just drop a tense. And that's it. And that normally takes about 5 years to learn, which is strange. Maybe we can do it in a bit shorter time. And at the start of every year, or once the students understand one piece of grammar, I just explain the next one. But I explain it. There's a bit more to it than that. I explain it, and I want them to explain it, and they use it. And basically, I'm using spaced repetition again, because I do it again and again and again until they understand everything, and they become masters of the subject.